Hello again and welcome back to part 4 of this video series, which shows you how to create a kitchen plan using Microsoft Word. What I'm going to do on this lesson is just show you how to use this auto shapes function at the top and some of the things you can do with that, specifically to draw things like sinks. They feature in pretty much every kitchen plan, and it's useful to be able to represent that on your drawing. So before I do that, I'll just create a base unit, a 1000mm base unit for us to put our sink in. So I've clicked on the rectangle button at the top, and I put the crosshairs on the cross on my graph paper here, and let's draw this 10 boxes along and 6 boxes down, which basically represents a space a meter long, or 1000mm, and 600mm deep, i.e. basically the size and shape of a 1000 base unit. So there we have a base unit. Let's put a couple of doors on it so we can remind ourselves what it is. Okay, and let's go about putting a sink inside it. So let me go to auto shapes. I'll click on that. I'll just hover over this so you can see the various selections available. I want to use a shape from within the basic shapes family, specifically the rounded rectangle. Let me click on that just now. Again, we've got a little crosshair cursor asking us where we want to start our shape, so let's just start here. Let me expand that out a little bit. I'll just bring that in. Okay, so that's even. Now you can see how I've manipulated the shape using the resizing handles at the sides of at the side of the object. So there's the outline of our sink. I'm going to go back to auto shapes, basic shapes, and again I'm going to select the rounded rectangle, and I'm going to create the first bowl of a 1.5 bowl sink. Okay, I think it's roughly going to be about that size. Now it's not too important whether this actual sink is physically accurate in terms of an accurate representation of what your sink looks like when when you buy it. Really, I just want to show to either the fitter or to remind myself that within this unit there's going to be a sink. So that's the main thing with this. Let me go back to auto shapes again, and because this is going to be a 1.5 bowl sink, let me just create another smaller bowl next to the main one. We'll just move that in a little bitty, and let's go to circles there, and let's put a drainer on it, and let's have a larger drainer in the center because that may have a waste disposal unit in it. Okay, and let's have some draining grooves just so it looks more sink-like. Okay, I'm sure you get the idea there. Okay, all these elements, again, now that we know how to use the what these different cursors mean, we can manipulate the different objects that make up this sink quite easily. Okay, so there's our basic sink outline. Now just quickly, it's worth mentioning just now how to select this group of elements that have made up this sink, just in case we ever needed to move it. Now there's a couple of ways to do that. If I hold down the control key on my keyboard, I can select the individual elements like so, and that there, and now I can move the whole lot like that. An easier way to do it, if you've got the space, is just to, from outside the object, is just to left click and create a selection box right around it, and it has the same effect. Okay, so I'll move that back in there. The last thing I want to tell you or show you in this lesson is just a quick bit about text boxes. So let me just click on the text box button at the top there, and let's create a text box here. Again, it can be manipulated just like any other object that we create. You'll notice these little resizing circles on its perimeter, and we can stretch it either way. If we hover in the correct part on its perimeter, we can move it, and again you'll recognize that cursor. And if I go to the prompt, the start prompt there, I can type in whatever text I want, and then I can change that as I would on any other text document. I can either use bold, italics, underline, I can change the font size, and I can change the font itself. One last thing that I'd like to mention about text boxes just now is you'll notice that it's created this black line around it. I just got the print preview so you can see what I mean. I don't particularly like that on kitchen drawings because it tends to confuse things slightly. You know, another box within many other boxes can get a bit confusing, so I'd like to get rid of that. So I'll highlight the text box just by clicking over it, and I will right click there and go down to the Format Text Box option, and there's various tabs along the top. The one we're interested in is Colors and Lines, and it's the middle option here talking about line and specifically color. And there's an option here for no line, which I'll click and I'll OK that, and you'll see that the line around the box has gone. And to prove that, I'll go to the print preview and you'll see that we no longer have a box around it. Okay, so that's all I want to cover in this lesson just now. That's the end of part 4, and we'll see you soon in part 5.